Cookie, shut up.
But anyway, so yes, I've seen.
I was putting in your journal.
Yeah.
We are gone live.
Well, it depends on what role she's.
Oh.
Nothing is on the snap. That's everybody.
I just don't like it.
It's Olive Garden.
Alright, I posted a message. Just letting them know we'll be starting. If anyone comes, we'll be starting shortly, but thank you for joining us. There's only one person, which I think is us. So.
I'm gonna find the show and I'm gonna have you watch it.
Okay. He's like, oh, yeah. I've been on a ride this long time. Oh, yeah. And we were carrying on condoms at like 3-4 o'clock in the morning. Oh my goodness. And I will never forget this woman came. And she told me the whole life story. She was like, I mean, and I was like, we could be so I bawled. Oh my goodness. I was crying, like not. Right, like I was upset with you, like no, she didn't see me. The people in the van who I was with actually.
Oh, so you actually waited.
Yeah, and they're like, yeah, it's emotional, it was a lot. I'm like, you know what I mean? And people, there was people like, oh yeah, I didn't want to do this, but I have to feed my kids. I can't think.
Wow. Yeah, no one's there, so you can pass.
And that's why those so jealous, but it takes.
It's a gift. People, not everybody can do it. I know.
I cannot. Ever. I change channels when I see something. I can't believe it. I can't do it.
All right. 4:29. We have one more minute.
Yes, there is.
Like, yes. There's mango in the mix.
We're gonna be like,
But it's yeah.
When I wake up in the middle of the night, you got to sleep.
But that's not what this one is.
I do, you know, like,
But at the same time,
right? I know you work real hard. You more than I think what you're trying to do
Well, it's not great, but it's great for the purposes of your own. Good enough, right?
So did she already make them now?
No, she's not. Oh, just having to talk. Okay.
I've been to share
That's all her attention. It's just your turn. They all have their turns. How are you?
I'll start
Are
now.
we starting?
They're coming. We're starting.
Oh, I feel lonely.
Turn the music off. You want it on?
Oh, I think there's
Was there a remote control somewhere?
there's a remote. There's a remote. There's a remote. There's a remote over there. Yeah, you can just turn the volume down.
She's great. I can switch it with you. Great.
She's by herself.
I know. Come closer, people. Why so far away?
Because that's the distance of live stream that we
This
can
is
see y'all. It's because of the live stream. They can
Nothing. Nobody can see you. You can sit over there.
Oh, wait, is there cameras?
Yeah, we're live right now.
Oh.
We are live right now. Wait, can you see me? Wait.
No, they can't do it.
Oh, not
No
till I
one.
come.
Yes, you have to come like.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Your time is coming.
Don't worry, you'll be up here.
I know, right?
Doing your thing too. Oh, speaking of which, I don't even know how we would. Okay, you can control that.
Which part?
So
Control what?
This is called learning the technology on the fly.
It's on.
No, yeah, no, I was talking about that for later. Anyway, welcome everybody.
All right. Woohoo!
Everybody, African Women's Second Annual Retreat Open House. Okay, so welcome. So I'm Joy Spencer. I think everybody by now knows who I am. And it is my great pleasure to welcome everyone here today for our open house, which the purpose of the open house today is just to, for you guys to get to know us, those of us who are planning and organizing this year's retreat. A lot of folks from last year are also back planning this year's retreat. Give you a little bit of the background and understanding of the purpose and history, and just for you guys to meet us, get to know what's good, and get a little bit of a taste of what we're going to be doing this year and why. So that being said, if everyone could just, if those who are part of the planning committee could just introduce yourselves as well. Just,
Do you want us to come up?
if you want to come up, there's the camera here.
Yes.
This way.
Come on, ladies. Don't let me go out by myself.
And why are you running away from camera? So yeah, so go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
Oh, you don't know if anybody's watching?
Yes.
Well, is this being recorded?
It's going to be shared later.
Oh,
So just go ahead and just introduce, just share your name, where you're from, and lead us into, because everyone else is going to introduce themselves as well. What you're looking forward to this year,
Okay.
or why you're.
Judy, come on. Aren't you part of the?
Yeah, Judy.
Yes. So I'm sorry. What did you
Oh, and before we do that, I want to say big thank you to Dima Mahmood, who was so gracious in letting us use her space. Okay, are we taking a picture? Was so gracious.
This to be more centered.
Was so gracious in letting us use the space here today. So.
Welcome, ladies.
As you are.
Oh no, it was in the middle of the.
Oh, okay,
Okay,
wonderful.
yeah. So if
What did you want us to do again? I'm sorry,
just
Joy.
introduce yourself, say your name, where you're from, and what you're looking forward to.
Oh, okay.
Today.
Those are the three.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, hello everybody and welcome. I'm so happy to see your beautiful faces. So my name is Dele Bankole and thank you. I'm from Nigeria. Proper. Yes. Thank you for that. Thank God. And let me see, what I'm expecting today is, so of course I'm part of the planning committee. I was there last year at the retreat. It was wonderful. So this year, I'm hoping that this information session will impart upon you the great things that Joy has planned for all of us. And I hope that you will take it a step further and register. That's what I'm looking for.
All right.
Is that good? Do I sit down now?
But it's all of us who are planning.
Sorry.
The great things that
I'm sorry.
Joy has in store.
I'm sorry. It's your.
What you all
yes,
have- what
we're
you all have
all planning, but it's your baby. Yes, and we're all babysitting.
Okay. Thank you, Dewey.
Hello, everyone. My name is Shella Fan, and I am from Cameroon. Pausing for This is called a pregnant pause. We're gonna do it again. And I am from Cameroon. Thank you. Thank you very much. What I'm looking forward to today is meeting more change agents, and that's what you guys are.
All right.
And women who are willing to plant the seed and to invest in themselves.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to meeting all of you and seeing you in August.
All right.
Hi everyone, my name is Chibu. I'm from Nigeria. I think one of the Hi everyone. Like I mentioned, my name is Chibu. I'm from Nigeria. Igbo tribe. Anybody Igbo is okay. I'm looking forward to meeting the women. I see a lot of new faces here. I'm just excited to learn more from you, learn more about you.
All right.
Hello, everyone out there and here. My name is Sawida. I am from the wonderful and most beautiful Sierra Leone. And what I'm looking forward to today is just about getting everyone excited and on the same page about it. That's going to be great.
It is.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Akuya Asari, and I'm originally from the Black Star Nation.
Oh! Dang, I want to go.
I wasn't able to actually attend last year's event, but I was able to kind of help out.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm looking forward this year to be a little bit more engaged and also to meet individuals prior to the actual event.
My name is Judy, and I'm from Ghana as well. And I'm looking forward the most just to meet everybody, kind of get the excitement going for this unusual
All right.
So now it's your turn, real quick. Name?
You want to start?
Yes. Oh, look at you calling people out. No, you start.
Well, hi everyone. My name is Aminata, and I'm from Guinea. And I'm just here because I just want to know more about the group and what it's just about, and and just getting to know each other, more. That's pretty much it.
Good. Good stuff. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you.
Everyone's got to introduce themselves.
Okay, so my name is also Aminata,
But you can see
but you guys can call me Ami.
But she also goes by Ami, right? You also
Yes.
invite Ami? Okay.
But you can
But
call
for
me
purposes
Aminata.
of today, we'll go with
Yes.
Aminata.
And
Okay.
yeah.
I'm also from Guinea. I'm looking forward to meeting everyone. I'm into like women empowerment, so like meeting and just mentoring with people. So I'm excited.
Nice. Wonderful. Welcome.
Hey everyone. Sorry, my voice is kind of. I have the cold, so I sound like an old lady. But my name is Rama. Oh, thank you. My name is Rama. I'm also from Guinea, and I was invited by Aminata. I'll call you Aminata today. And I'm also excited to just meet new people. I'm trying to be more social now, and not just stay in my bubble. So I'm excited to learn about what this opportunity is. So I'm excited to hear from everybody else.
The Guinea contingent.
Delegation.
I know. The Guinea delegation. Okay.
Delegation.
All right.
My name is Olu or Buki for some. I am from Nigeria. I'm just really here to sort of reconnect with my African sisters. And I heard about the retreat last year. I didn't get to go last year, so I really wanted to make a point of trying to get out this year and see what it's about.
All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Dima Mahmoud. I'm Nubian from the Sudanese side, or the Sudan one Nubia. I missed last year's, unfortunately, but I'm really looking forward to this year. And what I'm looking forward to the most is establishing an African scientific diaspora, African women scientific diaspora out here, and promote some of the scholarships that I have under my hands for this. Find me if you need money.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. We will. Yeah, definitely got some need for that.
Hi, ladies. My name is Oriel Feng. I am from Nigeria.
All right.
I was invited by Judy, and I heard about this trip last year. I wasn't able to make the retreat, so this year I our Guinea sister in that corner. I'm also trying to get out of my bubble and meet other women, especially African descent, powerful, empowered women. So I'm looking forward to meet everybody and.
Welcome. You want to go? Or do you want us to keep moving? You ready? You ready to go?
Take that up.
Go ahead, Keitra.
My name is Keitra Crutchfield. I'm super excited to be here. I have the pleasure of working with the lovely Joy. And so in many just wonderful discussions and connections with her, I've heard amazing and wonderful things about your group. And so while I'm not originally of African descent, I was born in Miami, I have deep roots and connections. My father, who was able to do the DNA tracing before he passed, is definitely Nigerian. We'll take it. Very connected and proud. I'm happy to be embraced and excited to hear about what you all do and how I can connect and be a part. So thank you for having me.
Yay!
And I brought with me my
Hello, ladies.
Hi.
Hi.
You can.
I'm Keisha's friend, and she invited me here. I'm very excited to hear about it. I'm all for the Black Excellence Agenda, and this is all part of it. I am Afro-Panamanian. So,
all right.
There are always very strong African ties. In Panama, I just visited Panama a couple of months ago for the first time because, my siblings, my parents, that's their homeland, and then they had me here. So, but I got to go back and I got to see where we went during the carnival, how closely linked they still are to African tradition. It did my heart so well, so warm, and I'm glad to be here. So I won't talk too long.
Welcome. All right.
Yeah. It's your turn.
My name is Eunice. I'm from Kenya.
Woo, East Africa.
I'll take it. I knew about the retreat last year. I was invited by F4. Okay. F4 is a very good friend of mine.
One of our cool.
Yeah, we came from Texas together. So. Oh, that's true. Yeah, Texas. Yeah. So she invited me to this, and after I was calling her, I said, "Are you there already?" She's like, "Actually, I wasn't coming, but I was." Yeah. So, but I'm here, and I'm ready to hear what the group does. I hear all the wonderful things, but not hear them in person. Welcome. Thank you.
I'm Ava Laura, and I can guarantee that I'm the only one from Connecticut. But Nigerians have certainly adopted me. So.
That's the best way to go. It's all right. Excuse me, Shauna. It's okay. It's all right. Relax. Relax. It's all up.
You can share. Ishanda actually told me about the retreat last year, and so when I was invited, I was like, I'll definitely come. I speak at a lot of women's retreats, so just curious to learn more and connect with other women. So I'm just excited to be here and meet you all.
My name is EJ. I'm also from the great country, most populous state, Nigeria. The place that all Africans, look to.
What did she just say? Wait, what did she just say? Okay, keep going. Keep going.
Fashion music culture.
Yeah, but she set it up.
Tell them thank you.
And I am here just to learn more about, I'm kind of somewhat familiar with the retreat and what it's about.
Yes. All right. Hello. Welcome. Hi.
Am I crashing this?
No, you registered, so you're here. You're not crashing, and you have a name tag.
So what's the introduction? My name.
Yes, so say your name, where you're from, and what you're looking for
So
today.
I'm Sal Calvidi. I'm born and raised in the area here, Boston. Married with 3 children, 3 grown adults now. The reason I came here was because I'm involved with a women's group in Ethiopia responsible for organizing a fundraiser back in March at a restaurant in Silver Spring to raise funds for girls in the rural areas of Ethiopia. Underprivileged girls, girls who have HIV and the host of things. So we had a very humble, successful fundraiser. And I've been talking to the African Union. I don't know if y'all Joseph Musa Bayama. He's heading up a women's group. And I had a discussion with her last night about this program. So I'm trying to, there's a lot of positive, good energy around the whole issue of women, especially after the Black Panther. So we're trying to capture that energy, right? And so that's it. I'm coming here to network because we're gonna be having some activities in the summer, women's related activities, and I want to make sure you guys know.
Thank you.
So this is our group.
And welcome.
You can have the next function to get my house.
Okay.
Thank you. Welcome. And I think we have one more person who just slipped in. Oh, and I didn't say that I was from Sierra Leone, by the way.
It's okay, because it wasn't necessary.
Okay. Sierra Leone represented. All right, we have another Sierra Leone person here representing. I'm immune to her shade. Your name, where you're from, what you're looking forward to today.
Geraldine, also from and just this works out strength for other women and here.
Wonderful. Yay. Thank you and welcome everyone. Welcome. Yeah.
How do I? This one?
Yes. That'll just take that. And I think where's the light? If you put the down arrow. Oh, it works. Yes. Okay, we already did that. We'll go to the next one. So,
yes.
Just,
no? Sorry, I thought we were doing the video. Sorry.
Oh, yeah. No. This is the light. Sorry. So today it's not gonna be. It doesn't have to be super ultra formal. There's you know how we do with Africans. We talk, we chat. There's back and forth. It's not like this is not a presentation. Although we have PowerPoint, but ignore that fact. This entire open house is an invitation. Really, it's an invitation to everyone who's here. It's a re-invitation to those who've been to the retreat before. And so I just want to share a little bit about the history and the purpose of this retreat. A very long, illustrious history of a year and a half. No, actually, a little longer than that. But this, I'd say this retreat was the idea for the retreat before it got to the retreat part. Started actually in my living room. A conversation between Dele and I, which I don't even till today. I don't remember what the conversation was, but it ended with her declaring that there would be an awesome conference out of the conversation. So the power of words and the power of speaking things into life really is a testament to Dele's words. So I always say that she's the father of the retreat. She spoke, she planted the seed. So it started, and the conversation was about. It was related to womanhood and it related to African womanhood specifically. And so very soon thereafter, the question really was, what does it mean to be a good African woman? That was sort of like a question that I had in my mind. And I put in the word good because I felt like there were a lot of places and times in my life where there are a lot of messages that we get about what it means to be a good African woman and what you should do, what you don't do, et cetera, what makes you a good woman. So I about 2 years before last year, so that this was 2015, I interviewed, I think, about 10 women. Soweta was amongst the women, like a number of different friends. And I asked them that question. I was, what does it mean to you to be a good African woman? And, fireworks, everybody was, first of all, people took issue with the question, which is as to be expected. Well, what does it mean to be good? And I don't like that word and tradition. So there were a lot of really good conversations about what it meant for them, what the constraints were, and what areas they felt that they had freedom around being African women in terms of what the expectations of their families and society was. So that question continued to evolve, and actually one of the women who I interviewed, who's not here today, Nell, was actually the person who suggested that instead of this being a conference, because of the intimate nature of the conversations that we wanted to have, and just sort of like the fact that it's an ongoing conversation that we want to have, that it would be better for this to start out as or to be a retreat. So that's how it continued to evolve. So we had a number of different dinners, like we would have dinner at my house, and there were a lot of different women who were involved, some of them who are here today and some who are not. But we had a lot of conversations and a lot of chats, a lot of fun, just talking about what this meant to us. So the retreat idea and the retreat question continued to evolve into how do we move from being defined by our roles, the different roles that we play, whether it's mother, aunt, sister, daughter, all the different roles and labels that we have, even like superwoman and all those things. How could we go from being defined and defining ourselves by those roles to really having a solid sense of our identity and really further our purpose? Like, why were we as individual persons, not just women, born into this world with whoever it is and all the gifts that we have? Why are we here? And to sort of like get deeper to that, root core part of our identity and self, and to be able to move and operate in that, and not just be operating according to the roles. You have your roles, but they should be liberating and they should support your identity as opposed to be something that constrains it. So then the question became, well, how do you do that? And who are the women who are able to do that? Who are the women who are able to, against all odds, stand in their families or stand in their particular community and say, it doesn't matter what my particular role is or my roles are, I understand myself as an individual being with a specific purpose on this earth. Like, who is that woman, right? Like, we all have, different constraints that we're dealing with. And so that's how the question continued to evolve into, well, you can't really be that type of woman unless you're really connected to your own power and utilizing your agency in different aspects and different spaces. And we use the phrase connected to our power versus empowerment, because empowerment has there's a lot that comes with empowerment, and there's the whole debate about people liking or not liking that word, but really to emphasize the point that it's not something that comes from outside. It's not somebody empowering you. It's not even situations or circumstances, and it's not that you don't ever have power. Like, it's not that they're disempowered women and then they're empowered women, but that all women, like all people, have power, and there are moments when you're connected to that power and moments when you're disconnected from it. So it's always available to you if you can avail yourself of it. And when you're connected to your power, you're then able to define yourself by your identity and your purpose in a society that demands that you define yourself by the roles that you're playing. So that's sort of how we ended up on that theme. And a lot of the women who are here today were our facilitators, and we went into the retreat last year with all of those conversations that had happened over that 2-year period and all the meetings. We went in with all of those conversations and all of that expectation to really explore and continue to talk about what this and these ideas meant to us, and for us to have a time to retreat, like get away. And that's the whole point, and that's the whole idea. And that's why it's a retreat and not a conference. The point is for you to lift yourself out of your life, the roles that you're playing, your job, family, whatever you're doing, and transport yourself to a place where you can focus on you. You can invest in yourself, and it can be about you, and not necessarily about you so that you can be better for everybody else, but about you so you can be better for yourself, because you also matter. And that's something that we find for ourselves as women, as African women, that it's very difficult for us to do anything that is just about us. Like, we'll spend a lot of money on hair and makeup because there's a sense in which, even if it's about us, other people will see it. Or, there's still the other person factor. But to do something that's really just, you are the only audience, you're the only investment, you're doing it in community with other women, but it really is about you. It's a very difficult, but very worthwhile and important thing to do. So that being said, I just wanted to play a short video that just gives a little glimpse of last year's retreat and some of the fun we had.
Just double click on it.
Yeah. So if you go down to the bottom.
Go down to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I should pull up the.
Okay.
Ooh.
There we go.
I think. Nope.
Oh no, not that.
Well, that's not the button. It should be right here. Hold on. I don't know how to play this. Is it still casting the screen?
Yeah, because we're still live stream. So, because the camera light is still on.
I'm gonna pull it up from the other side.
Okay.
See if I'm
It's on that
one. You can't see it up there.
Yeah, that's. If you is that what we're on right now? So I would make it the full slide.
Yeah, it has this cast from the green screen. Okay, we're gonna skip this. We'll fiddle with this, and we'll come back to this later. And I will have Dr. Bamidele Bankole Dumbia and Miss Judy.
Thank you. Okay, well, so this is a portion where we talk about our experience, our commitment. I'm pretty much going to interview Judy. I was on retreat last year, and so was Judy. So I'm going to interview her, and then I might interview some of the, because I see some people that were there last year in the audience as well, so that you can hear, pretty much our experience and what it was last year. So the first question for you, Judy, is tell us a little bit about yourself and why you decided to attend last year's retreat.
Okay, so you guys already know the most important fact that I'm Ghanaian. I'm first generation immigrant. I've been here since about 1990, and I've more or less stayed in this area. Only run away briefly in and out of school. I'm the oldest of 3 brothers. I work full time as a manager consultant in my free time. I like trash TV. I mean, come on. It's trash TV.
Oh, yeah. It's called reality television, and I love reality television as well. Thank you.
You can shut off this way. It's not the same reason. And I like playing around in the kitchen. So it's like short little bit about it.
And why did you decide to attend last year's retreat?
So to be honest, the number one reason why I decided to, pay the money and actually make a commitment to attend was I was curious. Like the name of last year's retreat is Redefining African Womanhood. And I had no idea what that meant. Not only did I have no idea what it meant, I found it very intriguing that as African women, or that a population or a group of African women was taking the time to create the space for other women to retreat and to remove themselves from their day-to-day lives. And so I wanted to be a part of it, and I wanted to see what it was all about. Simultaneously, during this time, I was going through a lot of transitions, and I was also juggling a lot of different commitments where I didn't necessarily feel like I was bringing 100% of myself to all the time, and I felt like I was dropping certain balls here and there. And so previous to me even finding out about the retreat, I'd already made the decision that I needed something. Like I didn't need a girls trip. I'd already tried the facials, the massages, and all of that, and it wasn't cutting it. Like I needed something else. And what was out there at the time, like the yoga retreats or silent retreats, like it didn't meet my need at the time. Like I didn't want to be silent for 2 days. I didn't want to be home. Like that just wasn't where I was. And so when I saw, when I learned about the retreat from one of I believe I learned it from Joy. Directly, like I was just excited, and I told as many people as I could. That's why Faye heard about it. I was lucky enough to also come to the retreat with one of my really close friends, Yemi, because I was just so intrigued by the thought of it. Wow, that was deep, girl.
So the second question: what was the most important lesson or insight that you came away with?
So that weekend was so action-packed. Like, there were so many different segments. I mean, obviously, you were there. You hosted a few of them. Mm-hmm. To say that there was one takeaway, like, I would be lying. There were so many. But the number one thing that I would say that comes to mind was actually a group activity that we did that was supposed to, I think I showed up actually in the audience right there. It was on the second day. And to be honest, like I forget the complete details of the activity, but the gist of it was that one of our sisters that was joining us at the retreat had to physically pick up items. And she was physically carrying all of these items. And then Shola asked her teammates, because we were broken up into 2 different groups, to help support her. As a teammate, or as teammates, people were giving her accolades. People were like, girl, you got this. Girl, we see you, girl. Like, I know you struggling, but your edges are still tight. We're just saying also. Some girl, I believe, even, tried to give her physical condolences. Pat's you got this. Mind you, she's physically holding, weight on her. And after the activity, Shola asked her, did you feel supported? Did you feel loved? And I was a team member. I wasn't the girl that was carrying this stuff. And I, as a team member, definitely felt like we were giving her support and we were giving her what she needed. But not even half a second, she was like, no, no, I did not feel supported. No, I did not feel loved. I needed somebody to physically take this burden off of me, or if they were going to help and show up like that. But so I learned two things from that. One, like we might show up, or we might come into situations where we feel like we're helping people, but it's not like, like that platinum rule, not do unto others, but not do unto others what you would want them to do to you, but do unto others what they need from you. So
I've never heard that one. Okay, but that's good.
So that was one layer of it. But then, like, more importantly than that, though, was that the onus wasn't on us, the team members, to know what she needed. She needed to speak. She needed to tell us what she needed at the end of the day. And that level of accountability, I was like, girl, how many times have I been on the phone with my friends and been like, yo, let me tell you what he did? Or, this, X, Y, and Z. Like, I didn't feel like they were there for me, but they tried. But at the end of the day, we have to take accountability of our own situation. So that was definitely a huge item. Another thing I would say, I said, it was a loaded weekend. Another thing I took away from that weekend was that, just that feeling of sisterhood. Oftentimes, we just feel so alone. We feel like we're the only ones juggling family, friends, business, work. We just feel so alone. And to know that, that feeling of overwhelm, or just that our situations aren't, not that they're not unique, but that there are others also going through it. And that's that feeling of sisterhood was invaluable, especially in this day and age when all we have is Instagram feeds or Facebook feeds, and everybody shows you their highlight of how they're going to Dubai, or they're going, or you know what I'm saying? You just feel like, what am I doing? But but that feeling that that it's okay, that feeling of overwhelm, it's okay to acknowledge it. Prior to that, I didn't think it was okay. I felt like I needed to be Superwoman or show up in a way where where the perception would be that, oh, she got it, she can handle all of that. But what that ends up doing is that somebody's going to throw you another ball. You can't carry it.
You're going to drop everything.
Exactly.
Because I believe she ended up dropping most of.
Yeah, because the load was too heavy.
Because we kept
even though we were trying to help her.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, good. So my next question is, what commitment did you make to yourself leaving the retreat, if you made any?
No, I don't. Okay. My commitment was kind of tied into that first insight that I shared about using your voice and showing up into certain situations. So, like I said, one of the reasons why I wanted to join the retreat is because I was feeling very overwhelmed. I felt like I was juggling the world. But through that activity, it made me realize that some of those roles and some of those quote unquote burdens were involuntary. No matter what, I'm going to be somebody's daughter. No matter what, I'm going to be somebody's sister. Some of them were voluntary, and some of them, not only were they voluntary, but they were unnecessary. And so making the commitment to actually do the hard work and the real work of going through my life and asking why, that simple question, but why am I doing this? At the end of the day, why did I want to pursue a graduate degree? Why am I starting this business? Why? And really narrowing down, or just not acknowledging, but just twiddling down those balls that I was juggling. The fact that every ball currently, for instance, that I'm juggling, I want to. I find joy in it. Kind of Kondo Marie. Any sense. So that was the thing that I walked out of there, was just to make sure that if I was going to put something on my plate, it was there for a reason. Good. And the reason was that I found joy in it.
Okay. That's very good. And then another question. After attending the retreat, After attending the retreat, you decided to become involved in the planning for the one this year. Tell us why. Which I'm sure you've pretty much said from the beginning of the interview, but just sum it up as to why did you feel now I want to be involved?
So this is twofold. It's not going to be a very long one, but so the first one is selfish, and that one was 100% accountability. I knew that showing up on these planning calls, like actually showing up to an event like this, was gonna forever remind me of that experience that we had together and that commitment that I made to myself. The second one is altruistic. Like from the second we walked, and when I say we, I mean like the participants, not the planners. Second we walked through those doors, we felt loved. Like we felt like I was talking to Yemi, who was another participant, and she said that it was like being hugged constantly for 2 days. Not physically hugged, but the feeling of somebody's got you. And not in the sense that, like, you know, like the way your mother or your grandmother might hug you, like, yeah, baby, you know, it's going to be okay. But like as a sister who's also going through the same things as you are. And I want to be a part of that for the next, you know, group of women. That's why I said like
Because she really set the tone and she pretty much described what the retreat was last year. It was phenomenal, the first of its kind. And with that being said, I also want to ask, because I see a couple of people that were there and I see a couple of people smiling and nodding. So I want to ask them very similar questions to what I asked Judy. So first I'd like to start with Shella. Shella, please, it is important that you speak because she was the one who opened up the retreat for us last year, and she was the one who headed up all these, I don't want to call it intrusive, but insightful exercises that let us kind of be one with ourselves. They kind of exposed who we were to ourselves, and she was the person who was the head of that. So I wanted to ask her, what was the most important lesson or insight that you came away with?
The most important. I would say one of the most important.
Okay.
It's really good. Okay, let me say it this way. It's necessary to have a group of women who you can connect with. It's necessary for your well-being, for your life in general, because this world has so many things that's going on. And there's some people that understand you that other people can't. The conversations that we were having, you can't have with your significant other. You can't have with, with your family, because they don't really understand. But it just tells you how important it is to have a group of sisters who you can connect with. It is truly necessary. It's like one of the ingredients of life. It's like breathing. Everybody needs to have a group of sisters that it can connect with genuinely and authentically.
Thank you, Shella. The next question is for Chiru. And I'm asking her because she led one of our, which was based on domestic violence. And as we know, it's pretty huge. And unfortunately, it's widely known in the African-ish culture. I'm trying to say it. But the way that she led the session, like, because, sometimes, you'll get defensive, like, oh, who she thinks she talks? She doesn't even know me. She don't even know what I'm. But the way she led the session, like, you literally let your guard down. And you're just like, oh, okay, well, she's just presenting information, and I'm going to take it home with me, and I'm going to do what I need to do. Like, that was the way. And I was so impressed, because I'm like, yeah, you're the only person that could do that. Because me, I would have been in your face like, you need to leave. Like, I would have been in people's face like, that is not right. We're in America. You're not supposed to experience that in America. But she did it. It was calming. It was soothing. So the question I would ask you, she did it so well. People would have left, George. People would have left after like the first 5 hours. They were like, I ain't staying here. She's crazy. But she did it. So the question I have for you is, let's see. Well, I think I'm going to ask you the same question. What was the most important lesson or insight that you came away with?
Relates to that. Retreat.
Just
retreat.
Overall, I was just letting people know what you learned.
Yeah, I think for me it was, I got to see people in a different light. Because I see some people I saw in the room I knew a couple people in the room on a professional level, but it was different to see people open up. And the thing about us is when we tend to not share our weaknesses. And so it was a very transparent space.
It was.
To see people who you thought, oh wow, I didn't realize she's actually just like me. And so that, I think that was a biggest thing for me.
Dr. Akua. Now, Akuya, sorry, let them know. Akuya, right? Akuya. Thank you. Dr. Akuya. So,
she's like, I didn't even go. She's not ready.
Oh, there's a reason why I picked her, because you're right. She wasn't at the retreat last year, but she was instrumental, because when we're dealing with different people, different emotions, different life struggles, you kind of have to learn how to navigate and how to talk to these people without offending them, without making people think that you're better than them. Because it's not even about, it's not even about that. But the way people perceive situations, we have to be careful, to tread lightly. And the doctor back there was very instrumental in helping us to navigate, how to talk to a room full of people. And I just wanted to ask you, and it's going to be the same questions for both years. Why did you decide to become involved in the retreat from the beginning?
Because people intrigue me. And the experiences of people intrigue me. Why, who, how they come to be, their evolution intrigues me. And being a Ghanaian who has been in this country for many years, I am privy to walking certain paths that I think most people here walk. And so you have a path of being a human, path of being a woman, path of being African, being a Ghanaian, being the eldest, being the sister. You have all these different paths, and they all come together in various ways to help you be who you are. And so this concept really of who are you? You is a concept that has been with me lifelong. And everywhere I go, everything I do, I always want people to know who they are. Because if they know who they are and who they're becoming, and they're okay with it, and they're learning about it, and they're evolving through it, they will eventually have a better understanding of why they're here. Because at the end of the day, all we really want to know is what is my purpose? What is my power? What is my potential? And so this concept when Joy brought it to me about the continent between us is massive, right? We have all these ideas and all these beliefs, and I said, this is an interesting concept because I am an African. I've experienced so many things, and I know other women who have also experienced many things in the United States. And indeed, it is more important actually to be heard than to speak. Because if I speak and you're not listening, so to have a situation, to have a space wherein my speaking and my hearing is important, is necessary, is acknowledged, that is a space I want to be engaged in. Because that is a space of healing. And I
Thank you. And just
to
let me go home every time she talks.
So that was the retreat in a nutshell.
Stand up. Yes, I get it. And I just want to let you know that it was because of the insightful lesson that you gave us that really helps me to learn how to approach people better. Because I'm pretty realistic. I know, right? I just. But you really softened the edges, so I just want to let you know that what you do and what you've been doing has been, very instrumental, to us. So thank you for that.
I just talked about safe space, and that safe space is actually not a safe space, and what that means. And I did that as my donation because I wasn't actually able to process of religion. So I was like, I can't be there, but I can give.
It made a huge impact. So the next person who was at the retreat is Miss Sawita. Come on. Hey. Now, Sawita led a session on the different stages of your life, different stages and how to adapt. And you compared it to one of the shows that I never watched.
Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones.
Yes.
And I just thought about Game of Thrones because it's just telling me more about my life. Like she really linked it right. Like, oh, this, and then she was an orphan, and so the question I have for you, is I'm going to ask you the very first question that I asked Judy. Tell us a little bit more about yourself and why you decided to help plan and attend last year's retreat.
Okay. So, well, about myself, well, just back to the transitions. Transitions, yeah. Navigating transitions. That's one of the things that I feel like I have had to face in my life, is kind of like going through different transitions, you know, coming to America, you know, growing up in one place and then transitioning to another place, but then also having kind of like, I'm learning about myself as someone who likes change, so that I've created opportunities for myself that I'm like, oh, I want to now, my background's in biology, but now I want to go into public health, or now I want to do consulting. So what I realize is that one of the things that is important to me is that I need to support myself through transitions. And it's not something that I just need to just go through blindly, and also part of what I talked about last year is recognizing when you are going through a transition. Sometimes things are happening to you, so you have to say, okay, change is happening. And so part of the reason I wanted to be a part of last year's retreat was that was a big message on my heart that I just wanted to share with other women. And also just to let people know, like, change happens and we can go through it in a way that honors us, in a way that we can survive it, you know, and also that it's not to be open to future change, and also seeing it as very closely linked to how we handle change is how we are tapped into or connected to our power and using our agency as women. If we're, you know, making sure that we're taking care of ourselves through a change. So I don't know if I answered your question.
Did.
Okay.
You did. So yeah, helping us.
And I want to let everyone know we have 3 people on live stream who are listening to us and joining us. So just, you know, say hi to our live streamers.
Yeah. Have they been on? Have they been?
I don't know what time. I don't know what.
Have they been on since 4 p.m. at the beginning?
No, probably a little bit after. But your sister says great information so far.
Oh, she's on there?
Yes.
So of course I have a question for Joy, but before I ask Joy, I also want to talk about, because I think I got everybody that was there last year. Yes. Okay, because I want to talk about my experience as well. So with me, how can I say this? Every session that we had was pretty much a little bit of myself. So I'm the oldest of 4 girls. My parents divorced when I was very young. I had to learn quick, fast, and in a hurry how to help support a family. I started working at the age of 15, like full on paying bills, like helping my sisters with Metro money. Like, it was terrible. I remember one time I had to, I was working and I got a paycheck. It was like $450, and I had worked really, really hard. It was like $450 for like 3 weeks. And my mom was taking a class at the time. Now she's a nurse, but she was taking a course to be a LPN. And she needed $500 on the dot to pay for her fees for that specific week. So I come home with my $450 paycheck, and she was like, "Oh my goodness, my class! Oh my!" I mean, like, I would never forget that ever in my life. So of course, I just, you know, because it was $450, it was $450 and some change. So I then just handed over. I handed over the $450 like it was nothing, and she left to her class and paid whatever bills she needed to pay. I had the little change left. I walked on over to Family Dollar and I bought myself a Snickers. I learned at a very young age the value of hard work. I was like, I'm gonna work my ass off, but I will never be this poor. I mean, we were dirt poor. Thrift store, it was terrible. It was terrible. I was racking and through that, the sessions I taught was finance. Finance and money. Through that, I learned how, I mean, I can make $1 stretch. I can throw a party for 50 people on $100. Like, I know how to stretch, iron, massage money because of what I went through as a child. So, moving forward, I was married before because I remarried. So my first husband, of course, he tried the whole domestic violence thing, and I wasn't doing it. And I say this to say that when I was suffering and I was going through these issues with my first marriage, I was as quiet. I didn't want anybody to know. I was ashamed. You know, I mean, as you guys see me, I'm very outspoken. And so, of course, people was like, oh my God, Deli, hey. They knew that. But what I was going through, you know, with my first marriage was just horrendous. I didn't say anything. It was my friends that really pulled me through. And I have to give shout out to some we didn't enjoy because even though I told them to leave me alone, they didn't. But anyways, whatever. That's another story for another day. I learned through that situation. If you're suffering, tell somebody. If you're going through stuff, lean on somebody. And ever since, well, I'm telling you, I've lived my best life because nobody can tell me nothing. I went to school, I got my PhD, and at work, you know, they'll say, oh, well, you know, because I'm in the IT field, you cannot have your certifications, you know, but your degrees, you don't need to have it next to your signature block because I put my name, you know, but I'm like, I spent what? You're gonna know, PhD, MBA. So I mean, and I only say that to say that it took a lot of suffering for me to now be more open and bold and trusting people. Some people will let you down. It's okay. That's life. Just move on. Pack your bags and move on. And I'm saying that to say that it took all that for me to now be bold and to live my best life. And the retreat really taught me to teach others. Like, please live your best life. Don't wait till the most horrendous, the most embarrassing thing happens to you for you to now start living and enjoying life. Just start. And that's what I got away from the retreat. So with that being said, I now want to ask one question to Ms. Joy Spencer over here. And the question to you is, so I know we've spoken a lot while we're planning. What's she doing?
Because I'm sitting so close to her, I'm pushing up and I turn that.
Okay. So with all the planning that we've done, all the people that came out, all the sessions that we taught, because Joy also gave us the creativity, whatever was on our heart, whatever we felt like we wanted to impart on others is what she let us do. Was the retreat last year what you thought it would be?
Yeah.
Okay. And why do you say that?
Because there was a good chunk of it that I was able to sleep through. Not that I was bored, but because there were whole tracks where I was able to retreat, and I went into a retreat that we were organizing and that we were planning, and as you know, someone who was putting a lot of energy and effort into it, I was able to retreat at the retreat. I was able to, you know, do all the that I needed to do, but get there, and then everybody else stood up and played their part and came up with things that I hadn't even thought about and pulled together to make the retreat truly what Judy described as like a hug, like a place where I also walked into a space that I felt relaxed and I felt comfortable, and I felt that I could wander off and and actually take some time to take care of myself, and that was better than I had better than I expected, because it wasn't it did not end up being an event, which is what I did not want to plan. I was like, I don't want this, you got to do logistics, you got to do all this sort of stuff. But I just didn't want to go to an event, like a one-time thing that was just like, oh yeah, we did this, we put this up, lift it up and then bring it, back down and pack and go home. But I really wanted it to be an experience for everyone who was there. But I also wanted to have a good experience. I didn't want it to be like, oh, that was so great. And then I'm like, well, I'm tired of y'all and I'm going home. That would not have been fun for me. And so that was important for me to be able to have it be that powerful experience. And I think it was a testament to everybody coming together and bringing themselves and bringing their full selves, and not just those who were organizing, but those who came and who were willing to take, because the people who came took the time to take care of themselves. We were able to be in a space that was about all of our care. And that allowed me to be able to still take care of myself in that space.
And is there anything about last year that you would change, that you would want to implement to this year's retreat?
Well, I think we've done that. So this year's retreat is going to be a day. We've added a day.
Yes. The happy hour. That was like, I know you said you really wanted to implement.
No, that was your idea. So there will be a happy hour.
Yes, but ladies, sorry to interrupt, Joy. So ladies, so last year it was so power packed. Like every minute made a difference. Every minute counted from when we woke up to when we went to sleep. I mean, we were doing art projects till midnight. They were having after parties to him. I was asleep. I was pregnant at the time, so I was knocked out. I mean, like, so at the end of the retreat, Joy and I and a couple of others, we sat down and we talked about how we can, make it more impactful. So we added another day. Like, it was that. Oh my gosh, it was.
Yeah,
wonderful.
we needed more retreat time. Like,
a lot of
so I mean, there was a lot of knowledge, there was a lot of talking, there was a
Yes.
lot of like communing and
Yes.
all of that, which was great. And but I think we also needed time. There were times when people could sort of like wander off by themselves or wander off in small groups, but there wasn't enough time and to enjoy the nature and the walk. People found time, but I think that adding the other days is going to be important for us to really get the full feel and effect of feeling like we had a retreat. And what's great about it is that you actually do feel relaxed. Like, you actually do come away feeling like, sometimes when you go away on a trip or you go away on a weekend, you're like, you have to get back to your life because your whole life was exploded and you're like, oh, stuff. But it actually was refreshing. And, so we're like, oh, let's do it again. And so here we are.
All right. Well, that's all I have for the question and answer session.
Yes.
You want to open up to the floor?
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't know.
So did anybody have any questions or comments about the questions and what, we described?
I do.
Yes, please.
So
Dima.
So you said you made a commitment to yourself when you left. Did you share that commitment with other people or from other participants, and did they in any way hold you accountable?
Yes. So the very first day, we actually did journals to kind of document our journey throughout the retreat. And so in my journal, I wrote that. And I gave it life. I spoke into it. And I did share it with a select few. I didn't share it with everybody, but I shared it with the people that needed to hear. And yes, they've been with me on the journey.
I know, that's right. She said she shared with people that needed to hear. That's another thing I learned. Not everybody needs to know your business. Anyways, anybody else have any questions?
But they've been with me because, like, for instance, like I said, I was able to come to the retreat of a really close friend of mine who's actually going to help facilitate the session this year. So he's helped me.
Nice. Okay.
My apologies. I'm gonna have to leave a little early.
Okay.
But F1 keeps me posted.
Keeps you posted?
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Take care.
Did anybody else have any questions in regards to what we just
And
spoke
not
about or
just to
anything
me,
in general? Yeah. Yes, sir.
Do you guys have anything specific on like holistic health and healing workshops?
We had yoga sessions in the morning. She's not here.
Right.
Ishanda let those who wanted to get up that early. Yoga sessions every morning so people could just stretch and exercise. But we didn't have anyone specifically doing
holistic, right?
Washington D.C. has a cadre of holistic health African people. They have this African holistic health association. Made up of acupuncturists, healers.
African acupuncture.
Well, at least African American. They call it that. So if you need people for your next retreat, I can provide a resource. I have a list of people who can get to know them and integrate that because it's important that you include that into the looking at some of the right? Like this stuff here is like sugar. So you need, the whole, I'm not coming in, pushing anything, but like this, you want to kind of like integrate the whole holistic health, nutrition, awareness, consciousness into your whole thing.
Thank you so
Not
much.
that I'm trying to push anything on you, I'm just making a suggestion.
No, that's good. We like, suggestions and insights. So thank you so much. Anybody else have any questions? Yes.
So I have a question. Sorry that came late.
That's all right.
So after the retreat, what happened afterwards? Like, I know, like, I've been to several retreats. Everyone feels good when they leave out. Promises are made, right? Sometimes the goal is to keep in contact with the people that you've met. So the ones who've attended, what was it afterwards? Like, did you keep in contact with some of the people that you left? Did you guys eventually come back together to like a 3 months, 6 months, or something like that? That was one question. And the second question was, what were some of the topics that were discussed, especially of those of African descent, especially when transitioning to American and things like that.
So did anybody want to answer the first question?
One of the things that we did was each of us had a mailbox at the retreat, and everyone felt free to write a note because we shared a lot of personal things. So people dropped notes in the mailbox throughout the entire retreat, and then everyone took their mailbox home. And so for me personally, every week I'll take a note from the mailbox, and it was really amazing to read some of the notes that people left for me. And I was like, oh, wow. I mean, seriously, they give me some kudos. And, you read this note in the morning and you start your day feeling refreshed. And so every note I read was like a mini retreat, that was with me. And it lasted me several months because there were so many notes in my box. Hello. But it lasted several months. And it was just a reminder, of the things that I learned, and also just, encouraging me to stay committed to my purpose.
And Joy, did you want to say something?
Yeah. So we're still connected, and like through a group discussion, just to stay in touch. And I think people made their own connection individually with other folks, and a lot of people know each other already. But part of staying connected was people getting re-engaged to prepare for this year. And I hosted a sort of like follow up I think it was like last November, a follow-up sort of gathering at my place. So we all came together to talk about where we were and what our experience was and how we were doing. And at that point, a lot of people be committed to be involved in going forward. Something that I haven't talked about and didn't share was that one of the things that is still in works and in process through this retreat is something that we're calling the African Womanhood Manifesto. So at the end of last year's retreat, like I'd asked the women a question at the end, sort of like, what does this woman look like that we're talking about? This woman who's connected to her power, utilizing her agency, and everyone sort of like created their own vision and wrote specific things about this woman. And so it's an ongoing living document where, I'm working with Judy and with a number of other women, and we're continuing to revamp it and edit it. And so we've taken the words of all the women who were part of the retreat last year, and that's going to be something that we present and sort of launch that draft version at this year's retreat. And there's going to be an opportunity for those who come to see it, to view it, to engage with it, see how it fits, and then also add their own. So that's something that sort of lives between the retreats, and is a way that we carry the conversation on, and that we really think about what does it look like to be this type of woman, and how we can make those commitments to ourselves and to holding ourselves accountable for that. Oh, what was the top words? Okay, so some of the topics. Yeah, so Delia mentioned that we had the topics around your finances and financial health, supporting yourself through transitions. There were sessions around your role, like what's your role as African woman, and how you can sort of like navigate. I don't remember what the title was. Roles and responsibilities. Sorry? The juggling act, yeah. And then we had a session about your identity and your purpose. So there would be like sessions of dealing with our themes. We had a session around your sexual health, and then the session that had to do with domestic violence. And then we had a number of different connecting activities that we had through the weekend that sort of brought us and the theme together.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
Ladies, I wish you all the best. I will keep you in my prayers before sunrise tomorrow.
Thank you.
Take care.
I guess it's the bit of what topics are you guys planning? So we're about to segue into that. And
all right.
Unless there was another
No,
question
nobody else
with that.
Thank you.
All right,
So,
oops. Did you want to keep this seat or
no, that's fine. I'll just share. So as I said, and as we've shared, the theme is evolving, and it evolves through conversation. So everyone who participated in last year's retreat and those who organized last year's retreat were like all in this, we're in a WhatsApp group. There's a conversation that's going on there, but we had an ongoing conversation when we met at my house about,
where is it going next? And so kind of like how it's a living retreat. So we didn't go into thinking about this year's retreat with a theme in mind or anything. We just sort of, all of us were having discussions and conversations about like, well, what's on your heart right now? What's the thing that's what's sort of like coming up for you, right? Individually, anyone who is gonna like facilitate, what are you dealing with? So, we're still, folks were processing and pulling all of that together. And so what we've learned in that overarching conversation as it continues to evolve is that the next step, as we look to go from theory to practice, right? If we think about last year's retreat as like we were theorizing, we were thinking like, what does this woman look like, connected to her power, etc. What does she actually look like in practice, or what different practices can we implement, or what different practices, are my different African women putting into place that's helping them to be connected to their power? How can we learn that and share that knowledge? And so what we realize is that one size doesn't fit all. So it's like you can't, what works for one person doesn't necessarily work for another person. And there's sort of like a dance that you have to do. And even as you're sharing or even as you're receiving advice or suggestion from your well-meaning sisters, you have to put your own thinking cap on to know how to do or what to do with that information. And so that's sort of how we've evolved and moved on to this, our theme for this year, which is the art of womanhood. Because
all right.
Pardon me, sorry, I was just gonna rush through that. And what that means is, and really what we realize is like being a woman, especially being an African woman, is an art, right? Like it's not a science. There are no clear rules or whatever in any given situation or circumstance or community. And you have to be we are artists in many ways in how we define our own womanhood and how we evolve through it, and how we even an individual person is not the same woman or taking the same approach at the start of her life versus at other times. So what we want to do at this year's retreat is follow along and have that sort of theme, and that our different facilitators are going to be taking on different themes and topics that's of interest to them. A lot of what's coming up right now has to do with relationships, how you relate to yourself, your relationship with yourself, your relationship with others, your relationship with your community, social contracts. There are a lot of things that we're talking about and discussing. And really what we're inviting you guys to do is to come and to practice your art, your art of being a woman, and take the time to invest in yourself, take the time for that weekend to, have some time that you can be on your own. If you want quietly in a room, take a walk up, hike. I will not be with you on the hike of Sugarloaf Mountain, or have small gatherings. We have we're planning different sessions where you would be able to have more intimate, small conversations, and then of course we would have larger meetings and group sessions. But there's going to be a lot more time for people to just do what they want to do. Like the point is your life is packed and full, so we don't want to then come and pack your weekend and it's just like, thanks, like I was trying to get away and then you just came and gave me a whole assignment. So that's sort of like, we really want there to be a lot of space for you to truly, truly retreat. And this is about investing in yourself. Like you're worth the investment, you're worth taking up the time. And so that's what we're doing for ourselves, and we hope that you'll join us in doing that. So yes. Okay. So great news. Tickets are going on sale officially for the retreat on May 6th. But for those of you who are here in the room today, you have first early dibs on a limited number of super early bird tickets that we're selling starting today. The website, the link's already live. You'll be getting an email right after this with the details. And so we're going to be meeting at the Hollywood Retreat Center, beautiful space. It's in Dickerson, Maryland. It's in the country. It's not that far. Like it's off of 270.
Yeah.
It's off of 270. One of the exits. But that's the whole point of a retreat, right? Yes, get away, woods, trees, and it's a man-made lake, and the Sugarloaf Mountain that's not too far from there. So it's going to be a great time to, come out and, invite your friends. Don't come alone, if you want, or come alone. Don't tell them about it, but make sure you come or share. And so early bird tickets are on sale now. They're $400, and that's for all, is it 3 nights? 3 nights. So it starts August the 2nd, which is Thursday evening. So it's August, so take off work. Plan, sort yourself. So it's Thursday evening through Sunday after lunch, so like around 2. And just, let the folks know that you're busy and take your time away and come do your work in community with other women. So early bird tickets, again, are 400 and regular tickets go on sale May the 6th at $450. That's general admission. $475 is if you want a private room. So the good thing about getting your ticket early now is you also will get the added bonus special of having a private room and a special treat in your gift bag when you get there. Are there any questions about where we're going? And
so the early session is now.
Yes, the tickets are live right now. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Question on that? No. Okay.
You didn't put a price for the early bird private room.
The early bird ticket, it has a private room.
They get a private room.
Dilly.
Includes private room.
We'll talk, Dilly. You're not paying attention to email?
But I know it's on the base. I'm saying it's not on the board. If you have the private room for the tickets on sale for May 6th, you have to move out the label.
Super early bird sale, May 6th. Super early
right.
bird
So
special. Everything here is about early bird.
The 400 is for the general admission.
No.
Oh, so a private room?
Okay, we'll talk later. Next. I think everybody else gets it. It's okay.
She's having a role play with you.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I appreciate it, anyway, but it went over my head. Thank you. Okay. Any questions on that? Yes.
So does this include food or?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, food, lodging, board. Our amazing facilitators who are, great professionals in their own right. So pretty much all you have to do is get yourself there, bring your stuff.
That's it.
And have a great weekend, and then leave. Yeah.
When is it?
August 2nd through the 5th. Yeah. August 2nd through the 5th.
Mm-hmm.
So take your days off, book your whatever you need to book. But yeah. Yes, Thursday evening. So we'll start. Yeah, our first we'll start out with dinner Thursday evening and have some introductory activities Thursday evening, and then Friday, Saturday, and then we'll be done after lunch on Sunday. Question? Good. I don't know what's next. Shella?
Yes, I guess I'm up.
Yeah. All right, Shella.
Where's the pens? Thank you.
Bookie has your pen.
All right. So I need everyone to take one and pass it around. So this any color.
The pen?
Yeah.
Any color. Come on. You can pass
Did you always start? You always
Trust me. There we go. I knew there was heart in there. That sounds like it's gotta be heart. Because I know Shell's bell. Right. I don't know why I was grabbing the color.
was like, no, I know what we're doing with it. I was like, don't worry.
All right, ladies back there, I need you in here. Okay. Does everyone have one?
No, I didn't get one, John.
Who's good?
Here.
Your roommate talking.
Oh, not yet.
Leaving us. This is the last thing.
We can't find them.
All right, so now what we're gonna do is give you a taste of the retreat. Okay, so throughout the whole retreat, there were different exercises that we did. A lot of them were fun. You know, a lot of them, as Della said, was a little bit intrusive because intrusive in the sense that you really had to be comfortable with sharing, with being vulnerable and sharing some things about you that you may not have shared with anyone else. So we're not going to do that right now. That's not what we're going to do. But what we are going to do is prepare for August 2nd. We're going to prepare for August 2nd. So this activity that I'm about to ask you to do, once you complete it, I need for you to hold on to it. And on August 2nd, you need to bring it with you. Okay? You need to bring it with you. Don't forget. You have to bring it with you because there's an activity on August 2nd that requires this. So I'm going to say it again. Okay, for those of you who are just coming in, okay? I'm going to say it again. You need one, Dima.
I need a backup.
I took two. You need a pen. All right. So
on the chair.
On the chair.
Did you get one? Yeah. Okay. All right. So I'm going to ask you a question. Okay. And I want you to answer it on one side, only one side. Don't use both sides. On only one side of your little wooden chip. All right. And so once you answer it, you don't need to share it with anyone. You just need to hold on to it. Hold on to it. And on August 2nd, you need to bring this chip with you. Okay? There's an activity on August 2nd that requires this chip. So hold on to it. Okay? Everyone understand what I'm saying? Hold on to it. When are you bringing it?
August 2nd.
Are you sharing it with anyone?
No.
Thank you. So, we all have gifts when we enter spaces, right? We all have things that we share with people. Sometimes voluntary, sometimes not. But each of you women, each of you sitting here has a gift. Part of the retreat requires that you share certain gifts with other people, that you're open to sharing. So when you enter the space, the question is, what gift are you bringing to share with other people? So you really have to think about it. Not every gift that we have, we want to share. And there's certain situations that we want to share certain things and not others. So for August 2nd, when you step into that space and you meet all these amazing women, I need you to go through your gift repertoire and figure out which of the gifts that you have that you are willing to share with us when you step in on August 2nd. So first, think about your personal gifts. Think about the gifts that you have. Now think about the gifts that you want to share. Now think about the gift you want to share during the retreat. So does everyone have some gifts that they want to share? All right, now write those gifts on one side of your wood chip. Gifts, plural. It could be one, it could be many. However many you want to share with us. She can have her own. We can give her her own. Okay.
Start opening up, that's her. So she will be bringing hers. She's
gonna try to take mine too much. She's like, so born to write on?
So think about your personal gifts.
Don't share.
You don't have to share. This is for you.
Okay. So once we wrote it down, just
so you written it down, all right? Everyone written down? Put it in your purse. Keep it in a safe place.
Look where
So on August 2nd, you're going to get to reveal your gift to everyone. And we're going to see it, and we're going to share it. Yes. So for some people, it may require a little bit more thought, right? Because you got to think about what gifts do I have, right? And then which ones am I willing to share with people? And then which ones am I willing to share with people I don't even know that much?
Right.
Okay.
Thank you.
We're good?
We're good.
Okay. So hold on to it. Yes. This is your gift. All right. Hold on to it and bring it on August 2nd. So I am looking forward to hearing all about the gifts. I am looking forward to seeing how the gifts are going to manifest themselves during the retreat. All right. Did you get one? Okay. So what I want you to do is on one side, you start writing on your
Well, I'll email. Hey, Shella, are you still?
That requires us.
Yeah.
However, and then hold on to
Okay, Shella, you done? Okay, I have. So Dima, sorry, Dima. The link is, I don't know if you can see it, because I was going to email this to you guys so you can see the link to RSVP. You can go to African Womanhood 20.
Is it on our Twitter?
I haven't, you guys are the first, yeah.
Okay.
It is live. I did make it live this morning, but I haven't posted it or marketed it anywhere. So it is, if you go to Eventbrite to African Womanhood 2018.eventbrite. You getting yours?
Yay, Dima.
Don't
trip, please don't trip.
No, that would not be good. So that's it. We are so glad that you guys were able to join us here today just to get to know us. I know, if you see things like a retreat posted, you're like, I don't know who these people are. That's quite a commitment to spend 4 days with people who are complete strangers. So we didn't want to be complete strangers to you guys. And so now you can share that you kind of know the people who are doing this. You can share with your friends, your networks, and please definitely join us and spread the word. So we look forward to having you. We look forward to doing the good and important work and taking care of ourselves together. So, I don't know if there are any other questions or anything anyone has before we. Yes.
I don't know if this is kind of take away from what you just had us right here, but really, I feel like in my energy, I feel like it's something that everybody should know, like our industry. like what everybody does. You know, I know she's a doctor, but
So yes, we're going to get, so that would be the connecting portion of this, right? So I'm just closing off to kick you guys off to that. So you guys can go ahead and do that and chat and meet and please get to, no, not literally. So you guys can talk and get to know one another and that's what it is. It is about community. It is about getting to know folks, and to the level in which you meet people and have a conversation with someone, that's the level to which this will be a useful and an important experience for you. So again, big thank you to Dima, who was instrumental in us having this space, and we're looking for where we could host this, and Dima was very gracious in letting us host it here. So very nice to make help here, and thank you so much. And thank you to the ladies always, and who will be there facilitating and moving us through some good conversation there. I also will share the website for the retreat, so there are other women who are going to be facilitating who are not here today and participating in the release. So.
And thank you, Joy.
You're welcome. Thank you. All right, so grab some wine. And thank you to those of you guys who were who were on the live stream. Sorry, we didn't forget about you, but thank you guys for joining. Thanks. There's Tolu chatting.
Were there anyone
Yeah, things going on now. Tolu has left the message.